Okay guys, so we are in the Tudor merchant's house. We're on the first floor. There are 3 floors. This house was built around the 1480s. And in stereotypical me fashion, I have found the toilet first. It's quite a rich house because it has obviously an indoor toilet. There are a lot of people in here, so I'm sorry if there's a bit of noise or stays, but I'll try and edit that out if I can. Lists of all the imports at the time. Writing board. I am going to go up again just to get it out of the way because it is quite busy in here. The lady of the house right there, she looks quite beautiful, quite rich, especially to have a portrait done. Fireplace. I just love all the little pots like these. I think they are absolutely beautiful. This is the view out of one of the windows. Try not to film the people. And there is obviously a view of the sea right there to the other window. Pictures of what it looked like in the 1880s, 1910, 1920, and then 1930, which is incredible. So obviously the photos that I just showed you, this is what the house originally looked like, and a group of people basically wrote letters to the council. Williams Ellis, who's the chairman of the council at the time, wrote letters, and this was the response. Is it worth spending £850 on a repair? I think it is, but some people might not have. Just come across this little doll. I think this is quite cute. Quite like the richness of the green on the camera. It's quite blue, but I've seen insight of what they would have kind of looked like and what the children would have played like at the time. So I've just come downstairs to the kitchen area, where I think this is sometimes my favourite parts of old medieval buildings, just because it's just so basic and the smell is gorgeous. But you've got some knitting that they would have done themselves. You've got, it is just incredible here. You can really smell the spices, and if you follow me out here, they have a herb garden, which I think is absolutely beautiful. I've kind of brought you outside a second just because it is quite busy upstairs, and I will go back in and show you some more of the upstairs when it's a little less busy, but obviously have a little look at what herbs they've got in the garden. Yellow iris right here. It's also maddening to think that this house is still here from that period. You know, it still is very well maintained, and it's just so quiet here. Like, I wonder how many tourists come here and don't realise it's here. Like, how many of you guys have been to Tenby and haven't been here? It's insane. You can smell the fire. It's insane. This place is beautiful. I love it. And obviously, I showed you the toilet upstairs. This is where it would fall down into. See, there's still quite a gap. Luckily, it doesn't smell like a toilet anymore. It obviously hasn't been used for that for a very long time. But yeah, here we've got a learning tablet, which has obviously got the Lord's Prayer on the bottom. EI's news, the alphabet, which is pretty insane. I think that's really cool that they display some of the toys and some of the things that they would have learned their children with. We've got a cup and ball set. There's the ball. We are allowed to touch the things here because most of them are replicas. But yeah, pretty insane. Just come across this mural on the wall. It looks beautiful. The colours. And you can tell it's Tenby. See these 4 men here. If anybody knows who they are, please let me know. I think the guy in blue looks a little bit like Henry VII, but obviously I could be completely wrong. I've not realised there. If I can get the camera up there. The border around the top. Absolutely incredible. And I think that wolf there looks a little bit like something from Game of Thrones.
He based it on, first of all, I suppose you'd call it almost a census that was made in 1685, I think, on the instructions of Queen Elizabeth I. She required every town to produce a list, a very simple list, how many properties were in the town, in each street, who owned them, and how much duty they were paying to the Crown, because it was all Crown land. And we still have that record, it just that one occasion it was done. Although the houses weren't numbered in the streets, they still managed to work out, where they were and which is which. They can actually identify.
And from that census, do we know who was living here at the time?
Just on that one occasion, it's the only name we have. Yes, and he was a Mr. Jordan. That's all we know. He had to be, we reckon, a merchant. Only merchants who could afford
for this kind of splendour at the time.
There's all sorts of reasons why this had to be a merchant's house. But to show you how rich he was, the record also shows he owned 13 other properties in the town, which he rented out.
Oh, so he was kind of like a landlord.
That was how rich.
He's got a lot of money then.
Yeah, the merchants were.
Oh wow, okay.
We're earning serious money. Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
and obviously you're right on the sea, really, aren't you, as well? So you're on like big trade ports like France and.
I mean, in those days, in medieval and right through Tudor times, everything in bulk had to be moved by boat.
So a lot of the historical castles are on waterways like Pembroke, Carew. All long waterways.
I mean, the 3 big towns in Tudor times were Haverfordwest, Pembroke, and Tenby. Now, Haverfordwest and Pembroke had merchants operating there, but of course the ships had to get up river estuaries to get to it. And I mean, Haverfordwest 20 miles from the sea. Here, we're lucky; we're right on
the channel.
See, around the Bristol Channel. So this was, this for a long time was busier than the other two. Yeah, by far. Yeah.
Do we know roughly, like where on the picture we are now? So it'd be roughly.
Well, there's the main street. The main street, and we're tucked down behind those houses there somewhere. Because when you think about it, we're down below, way below. So out of sight, actually, I can't pinpoint.
No, you can't quite see like where you couldn't go like, oh, it's this one or this one. And this would have been like the main entrance to. This one would have been the main entrance.
That was the main entrance. Yep. There was a secondary entrance on the side of that. When the Georgians came and rebuilt Tenby, they knocked that down sadly to get their carriages in, and they also, between them and the Victorians, they knocked holes in that tower, and that's now got the 5 arch gates.
Which is sad, really, isn't
yeah,
it? That
apart
we
from
still
that,
don't have the kind of like the original. We still have the walls.
Yeah, I mean, we have more wall than most towns.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's very few towns you can name that still have
Medieval.
medieval
The walls, really. Yeah.
Chester.
Chester's got the walls. I think Abergavenny might have the walls as well, the town walls.
Not as complete.
But not as complete as these. These are incredible.
So we're very, very lucky.
Yeah. So do we think this is what the merchant looked like, or we don't have any record of
No,
what
we
he
don't
looked
have any
like?
records. Apart from that one name.
From the name, that's it.
No records at all. They didn't keep records
No.
those days in the way that we do. I mean, certainly in medieval and Tudor times, the vast majority of people couldn't read, let alone write.
Mm.
So what was the point of recording? I mean,
Yeah.
with a record, who's going to read it?
Yeah. Nobody's going to read it. Only those that were fortunate enough to know
That's
how to
right.
read and write were
That's
going to
right.
be able to read it.
Somebody said a couple of weeks ago, yeah, but surely didn't they have a record of who lived where?
Like,
We
no.
didn't need that.
No.
Everybody knew each other. They
Yeah, you knew
who
your
lived
neighbour, didn't
where. Yeah,
you?
you knew where everybody lived.
It's mad, isn't it? So, like, the artwork on the wall as well, obviously,
That's all reproduction.
that's all reproduction.
Everything you see is reproduction.
Yeah.
No, the house was in a sorry state.
Yeah, I've seen some of the pictures upstairs that
Very sorry state. But it's just the sort of thing that the experts
would have been
here. Oh yeah, very much.
and obviously quite rich tapestries on the wall
Yeah.
as well. Like,
Yeah.
this is beautiful.
Yeah. Well, they wouldn't have been able to afford paintings as we know them.
No.
No, I mean they were very rare. But they, there were artists, amateurish artists, going from town to town, and if you bought them a paint and gave them a bit of canvas,
They'd do it.
paint the picture.
National Museum of Permanent Loan, National Museum of Wales, and the National Trust only uses the best craftspeople. I mean, the Artwatch, when I first came here 9 years ago, these had William Morris lined curtains. And the conservator came down and she said, right, there was no William Morris,
No.
there were no lined curtains,
No.
there were no sewing machines,
No.
and there certainly wasn't rufflet tape.
No.
So us volunteered sew these, and the whole thing had to be done by hand,
And
the way it was before, and so they do keep an eye on us.
yeah.
We're not allowed to go mad.
No. You've got to show it as it would have been at the time, so they wouldn't have had that kind of like lavish.
And you see, that's fairly typical.
Yeah, hang your baby.
But what's different between these
Yeah.
areas, the little legs dangling down?
Nothing.
They're ahead of their time.
Yeah. And I think like some of the carving work and some of the wood is absolutely incredible.
That's
like
called linen fold.
yeah, like you've got like the Tudor roses here and the acorns and stuff, which I think are beautiful.
I don't know whether my husband said that piece of. Can you see, if I hold that there, can you see 3 stripes?
Yeah.
3 scratches.
Yes.
And there are scratches that match quite so clearly alongside it.
Yes.
I hope you got them.
Yes,
Yeah.
I can see them.
That makes sure that joist fitted. I'll hold it by hand as still as I can.
It's okay, I've got it.
You got it?
Yeah.
Okay. You can actually see there.
Oh yeah, you can see them, they match.
Better there, but I haven't got the one with the other side.
No, that's fine though. I've got them here on the camera.
Of course, the white walls would be lime wash, and that itself is an insecticide.
Yeah.
And the good side of the story is that if a ship is in danger, a mermaid will sing, and the ship will go towards the mermaid away from danger.
Yeah.
But the other one is the most popular, is that, for instance, the Tenby mermaid sat on St. Catherine's Rock and sang beautifully, and the ships went towards the rock and found it.
Yeah.
So she was vicious.
Yeah, she's a bit more of a siren than a mermaid.
She was a siren.
She was a siren, but I think it's beautiful. Like, Absolutely incredible. And we're kind of lucky that it's still here, that people can
We're
come in.
very lucky to people like Clough Williams Ellis and the others who wrote that letter to the Times, because Tenby Corporation couldn't afford the £850. You
Yeah.
saw that in the
Yeah,
letter.
and that would have been a lot of money back in the day as well.
Yes, and a lot more demands on it.
You know, it's still quite a lot of money today for a lot of
But
people.
in actual fact, the trust took it over in 37 and immediately rented it out to a dentist and his family.
Oh, wow.
And the other side of that, well, you see, that wall wouldn't have been there in Tudor times. This is
Yes.
one long bedroom. That's the National Trust office. And the other side of that wall is a really ancient yellow formica kitchen. That's the kitchen. That's all.
Yeah.
And the other side of the wall is a small hand basin and a loo. That's it.
Oh, wow.
And yet a dentist and his family lived here.
Yeah.
And of course that would have been a bedroom down there, and this would have been the others. It wasn't partitioned, well, it might have been partitioned off, because they had offices billeted here during the war, and refugee women and their children.
Oh, wow.
One toilet, one small hand.
Between so many people would have been. Wow. I'm coming over to this because I've just noticed this tapestry. And this is absolutely beautiful.
Did you hear me telling the story of the tapestry?
No, I didn't.
Funny enough, there was a lady in house the week before last, and she did tapestry. But that was given to the house in the 1950s by a Haverfordwest doctor and his wife, and they both worked in it. They started from opposite ends coming together, and it depicts Tenby. I don't speak Welsh. The translation, it's Dinbych a Pisgoed.
Dim ac y Pasgoed.
That's it, that's right. And it's the town, it's the
Fish.
fort, and it's the fishes.
Yeah.
And they're rather grotesque. And it was called a prominent port. In those times, Tudor Road, Rose, Oak Forest, here's our daffodil, the Tudor dress. That may be the Abbey on Caldy. That could be St Mary's Church or St John's Church, but it's meant to be depict Tenby. Anyway, this lady came over and she said, look at the detail in that tree. Now she said, look at the similar tree over here. It's not quite as
Yeah, it's
good.
different.
She said, all this is much tighter work. This is not. And she said, that is why this half is folding flat.
This half is bumpy.
Yeah. And then she said, that was probably done by the man, because they're stronger.
Yeah,
Pulling
tighter.
the threads. Yeah.
Wow.
And over there, that's very modern. That's an example of what's known as Tudor blackwork. My mother-in-law was awfully good at doing this. And it's like having just a needle and a reel of black cotton and doing really small stitches. It's called blackwork, and it's always said to be Tudor blackwork. A lady one day, she said, it's Spanish.
Oh, wow.
Catherine of Aragon brought it over.
Oh, my goodness. I do love Catherine of Aragon. She's one of my favourites.
Oh yes, my husband is as well.
Yes. That's beautiful. I'm going to try and get as close as I can to that. This is the piece of furniture that the lady was talking about upstairs. This is a direct replica of something from the 1400s.
No.
I've just noticed these down here as well. Everywhere you look, there's something different to look at. Like, it's insane. I love these little dolls on things. I will ask if there's a reason for that. And the ship, obviously showing the port. It's incredible here. I've got even more of these little dolls here. Absolutely beautiful.
That's my favourite. Beautifully made.
It's beautiful, isn't it?
That's got our ormwery covered.
That's gorgeous, isn't it? Absolutely gorgeous. So that was the Tudor merchant's house. I've left now. I'm trying to get a bigger shot and walking backwards. I can zoom the camera out actually. That's as far as it goes, but it is absolutely incredible. The staff and the volunteers here are absolutely insane. They answered any questions I had. But yeah, it's been amazing. It's been beautiful. It's been quite a lovely few minutes in there. And I'm going to make my way down now to my family. So hope you had an amazing time. Hope you really enjoyed the video. I'm sorry if I was a bit quiet at points, but unfortunately I had to leave. There were a lot of people in there. But yeah, it's amazing. Thank you very much, guys. Enjoy.